Well, people who have watched the Real Housewives series, I've watched them. Yep, I'm confessing. I'm coming out the closet.
See, men watch too.
Oh, ain't no doubt about
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
You know, watching all the drama down in Atlanta, following the who died, who's there, the baby daddy. Oh my God. But when you follow these shows, D.C. is a different kind of thing and a different kettle of fish altogether. D.C. is a much more closed, some would say snooty, snobby, some would say insular society, very private and buttoned down for the most part. How did you feel exposing your life to the cameras and to the public and, you know, what it means to have that kind of exposure and, you know, if you will, heightened visibility?
I was nervous. I still am nervous. And it's interesting that we don't see the episodes until 2 days before you see the episodes. So every week I'm on pins and needles as to what's going to come out. But overall, it was a really good experience. I've heard that it was very difficult casting in D.C. for that reason. First of all, you have a number of people affiliated with the government and politics and so forth, so they can't be a part. And then overall, just here, people are just nervous about exposing their life. So my husband and I, we decided that we were going to take the plunge, and if we were going to do it, we were going to be really real, be it good or bad, about what's going on in our life, and hopefully we can represent in a positive way.
Well, you certainly have been. And anybody who knows you, obviously, you know, good-looking couple, your handsome husband, your beautiful children, you a very beautiful woman, very articulate and extremely smart. So you cut across the grain. No disrespect to any of the other housewives in other cities, because they have been certainly colorful, but you bring a different kind of élan vital. You bring a different kind of presence.
Thank you.
That some would argue is a cut above and a bit more classy. Did you find, you know, people being critical of the fact that you ain't dealing more in some of the gut bucket gossip or some of the other shenanigans that characterize other of the housewives shows?
I think that people are saying that about the show overall, that it's just a little bit different than some of the other ones, which is good. I think Bravo is brilliant in that by expanding the Housewives series to all the different cities, they've made sure to capture something for everybody. So the viewer that wants to see the table flipping might not get it from D.C., but they can get it from New Jersey. You know, so you have something for everyone, and hopefully people see in D.C. just a different type of drama. We've got 5 really interesting ladies. We all have very different lifestyles. And we try to bring that forth on the show. And I think as people start to know us more and our relationships before it become closer, you always have inherent drama when you get 5 women in the same room.
No doubt about it. And you're the only African American. You're the only minority really participating. Does that make a difference? Does some of the dynamics change as a result of that? Are people more curious about your lifestyle and what your family is like?
You know, people are just always asking that question. How in the Chocolate City could you have one sister on the show? Which, you know, I have the same question. I would love for it to be a little bit more diverse. But I think that they've done a pretty good job of making sure to show different lifestyles. In my life, I interact with all types of people. So you're going to see other African Americans, you're going to see other people of different ethnicities, and you're going to see us in different areas of the town that really reflect the diversity of the city. So hopefully that does it in you know, makes viewers interested.
Absolutely, and it is a question of intrigue and interest. Chocolate City, even though it's down maybe to 55%, but still, can we get some more brothers and sisters and people of color involved? Just like when CNN did a, you know, or the more broadly, the umbrella under which CNN operates in terms of that Time Warner family goes to Detroit, and then, you know, not a whole bunch of stories about Detroit. It is intriguing enough. But one thing that was controversial that came out is the recent debate and dialogue on your show about gay marriage, and you are just pinned as the person who stands against gay marriage, or that your belief is that marriage is between a man and a woman, and they kind of cut it short. That's a kind of bit truncated there, and it's reductionistic because you have much more complex views, many more complex views about that. Why don't you share with us, you know, how it got snipped down to that and what you really think?
So the timing on this could not be better. Here we're going to have on the show this whole debate about civil marriage equality on the show, and it's 2 days after Obama had the Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal shot down in the Senate. So it's interesting that on a reality show we're starting to talk about real touching issues. And so for me, this was a really, you know, sensitive, touching issue of which you do not get the full context in just the show. You know, bottom line, I believe in equal rights for all people. I don't care what your color, your gender, your whatever. Everybody deserves equal rights.
Sexual orientation.
Yes, absolutely, under the law. And so what Jason and I took a risk on and shared with viewers is, just an internal conflict that I have. I was raised Catholic. My current faith dictates that marriage is between a man and a woman. And although I feel that there should be equality for all people and so forth, inside I'm like trying to reconcile just what I've been taught from a religious standpoint. So it has nothing to do with my actions and what my beliefs are in terms of people's rights under the law. It should all be the same. But we were just very honest about something that that I wrestle with internally, and it's like my own personal.
And isn't that the point of the show? Because your personal struggles can help illuminate this broader landscape, because people who are trying to come to grips with what they've been taught, the beliefs that have been implanted deeply in them, and even the churches. I mean, I'm an ordained Baptist minister. You grew up Catholic. I mean, there are contradictions in both churches now. So the Catholic Church may be teaching that, but there are enough convents and enough children and enough, lives that have been altered by the actual practice of churches that contradicts their own theology. So your being honest about it seems to me can highlight some of the struggles that everybody has, or that all people have around this issue.
I'm just happy that we're having the conversation about it, because that's the worst thing, is for people to have their own beliefs and then just never talk about it. And also on the show you'll see that we have a conversation with David Catania, who's one of our city council people in Washington, D.C., and he was on the forefront of pushing through the gay marriage bill in D.C. And so we sit down and have a conversation with him where he shares information about it and educates us in a way that we would not have had before. So it's really interesting. This should be a good episode.
Well, you're a very modest woman, but I've got to ask you this question. Looking at the blogosphere and the chatter on the internet, you're the most popular of the D.C. housewives. So we're going to crown you the most popular. What do you think is the reason for you being the most attractive, not just physically, to the folk who watch the show?
Oh, you're so biased here. But I'll take it.
Here you go. Stop.
I'm really, really flattered by all of the positive feedback that I've gotten. What a number of fans have said is that they love the way that Jason and I keep it real. And so when we, sometimes it works good for us, sometimes it doesn't. Like in this episode, it gets a little bit controversial. But, we really tried to share things that were going on with our family and in our heart. One of the storylines has been my birth parent search, which is something that was really happening during that time that's very personal. But, when we committed to do it, we committed to show the type of people we are. So we're hoping that families out there are just relating to us and, like my character, because my character is really me.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, very briefly, give us, for those who don't follow, the birth parent search. Has that come to a conclusion yet, or?
So I can't tell it all, but in last episode, everyone was left with me trying to make a decision whether or not I was going to reach out to my birth mother's son on Facebook. This is where, being in the 21st century and having all these media options, it creates these new challenges to think of. And so it's a big decision for me because, I want to find my birth father, but at the same time, I don't want to hurt or disrupt anybody else's life in the process. And so you'll see that in episodes coming up, I will veer off that direction and start to go on a search on my own, which will take me to the Nigerian embassy.
That's intrigue. That's showstopper. That's almost like Blair Underwood's The Event, right here on the Michael Eric Dyson Show. Thanks to my guest, Stacie Scott Turner, cast member of the Real Housewives of D.C., which airs Thursdays at 10 Eastern on Bravo. Coming up.